Samsung has undoubtedly been leading the folding phones category, and for a reason. Their latest and greatest, the Fold 4, has me fully convinced. This is my review of the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 4. Jumping straight to it, the Fold comes with a Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1. This is currently the best chipset in any Samsung device. It also comes with a 4400 mAh battery, which typically can go a full day for me. We'll talk about that later on in the video. At the back, you get a triple camera setup, the design looking similar to the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 3, but with some minor tweaks and improvements. Let's dive into it. Up front is a wider 6.2 inches Corning Gorilla Glass Victus Plus display. You can find a 10 megapixel selfie camera at the top. It's a very small punch hole camera, so I really appreciate that. The display has been really useful. Still not the perfect Goldilocks size display on a typical smartphone, but I found myself using this more than I normally would. The reduced bezels and app support made it a go-to for most of my basic tasks. Still slightly taller than the usual aspect ratio, but some YouTube videos and movies actually fit well due to that stretched aspect ratio without a lot of black bars. It's still a 120Hz display, so it doesn't feel different when you open the inside. When it comes to the inside display, this of course is a massive 7.6 inches folding dynamic AMOLED 2x 120Hz HDR10 Plus display. Now, this has been absolutely a fun experience with the display. Amazing colors, more importantly, it doesn't feel so fragile, and interacting with it was a fun experience. Blacks are deep, colors are good, but I found myself turning the screen mode to natural because the vivid mode had the colors looking a little overcooked for me. One advantage of having such a huge display is multitasking. Being able to open 2 or more apps side by side without having to frequently switch between applications was a really cool experience. And the addition of the new taskbar at the bottom is such a well thought of feature, as now switching between your frequently used applications is so easy, a really smart way to use the huge display, and it looks really nice too. Not forgetting the speakers. You have a dual speaker setup, but it's found on the left side of the display, so whilst using it, the perfect spot is to turn it on a 90 degrees angle. This is when you feel that surround sound whilst using the smartphone. It sounds really good. Now let's talk about the Crease. You know what? I had no issues with it. Depending on what you're viewing on your screen, if you view it from an angle, it looks really distracting, but when you're looking at it straight on, which is how you're going to be looking at it most of the time, you rarely notice it's there. And I had no issues with it. I'm sure very soon Samsung is going to find a way to make it less noticeable, but unlike the Flip, where I constantly felt it when scrolling on social media pages, with this I rarely had any issues with it, so that was a good thing. Whilst using the S Pen, taking notes and the likes, that is when I actually felt it a lot. Now let's talk about the hinge. Samsung made it smaller compared to last iteration, and it still feels pretty firm and steady. It can hold at almost every angle, which is a good thing and gives you a lot of flexibility on how to use this smartphone. Granted, it still doesn't shut close completely flat, but what I found out was using the case actually helps close the gap and helps keep stuff like linen and particles from getting into the display. So try and slap on a case for your Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 4. For the battery, like I mentioned earlier, this comes with a 4400 mAh battery, and when you fully charge it, it's going to take about 1 hour and 25 minutes, and it easily lasted me a whole day most of the time, and even the day in a live video, which I'm going to link above, where I use this phone more than I normally would on a regular day. I still found myself having about 30% of battery life at the end of the day. So the battery life has been pretty impressive. Performance has been outstanding too. Nothing less expected from Samsung's latest and greatest. I like how Labs helps make more apps compatible with a larger display. The phone never lags and is able to handle most of everything that I do on a day-to-day basis. I must say I'm not a fan of the fact that whilst watching a video in the inner display and I decide to close it and continue on the outer display, this assumes I want to end the application and it doesn't continue, unlike if the case is the other way around. If someone knows how to change that, kindly let me know in the comment section. And whilst you are in the comment section, if you haven't subscribed already, hit the subscribe button and follow. It goes a really long way to support the channel and it's absolutely free. I like how some apps take advantage of the huge display. For instance, TikTok has the home, friends and notification tab on the side. When you open a video, the comments actually shifts to the right side, which is really cool. It doesn't distract the video, it's just too good, you can't beat that. I hope other developers are going to update their apps to take advantage of the huge display like they do here. When it comes to the cameras, we have 5 cameras in total, 3 at the back, 1 on the cover screen and 1 under the display on the inside. For the outside, we have a 50 megapixel main, a 10 megapixel telephoto and a 12 megapixel ultra wide. And we have a 4 megapixel under the display and a 10 megapixel on the cover display. The cameras have been pretty impressive. If you want a detailed view of how they perform, I did a day in a live video where I used this almost the whole day. I took a lot of pictures and videos. You see how they actually perform. This is a sample video and enjoy more pictures and videos that were taken with this guy. Here you go. Okay, let's quickly check out the cameras. This is the under display selfie cam under this display. So I had Samsung try to improve it this time around. How does it look like? We're going to use some few minutes to test out the cameras. We have 3 cameras at the back, the 50 megapixel main. We also test out the wide and the telephoto. Yeah, so this is the selfie camera found on the outer cover. I just wanted to enjoy this view. Guys, check out this view. This is so cool. Okay, so this is being shot on the ultra wide. This is a lot. Let's check out the 1X. There. What about the 3X? Woo! Let's see if we can zoom in some more. All the way to 12X. And like I mentioned earlier, it is wedding, so I'm sure I was going to take a lot of pictures, and I did. I took a lot of pictures, and I'm sure you guys are going to say these pictures turned out really great. If you check out the dynamic range and everything, the colors were really on point. I really like how the color reproduction was. When it comes to portraits, it did an amazing job at separating me from the background. It looks really good. You see the dynamic range in this shot. Everything is really well lit. I really like it. Portraits was cool. See, if you're not going to be complaining about the cameras if you use this. The pictures were awesome. So in conclusion, what do I think about the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 4? Trust me when I say this has been the most fun I've had with any device in my life. I like how huge the screen is on the inside. I like how premium this feels. Almost everything that I wanted to do was fun and enjoyable using this. Sometimes I actually forgot this was just supposed to be a phone. It felt more like a huge display that made consuming data and content a really fun experience. I really enjoyed using the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 4. I don't know how Samsung is going to make this better, but trust me, I really like this so far. So will I recommend this for somebody? This might not be the most minimalistic phone ever. If you want something that is very minimal, you can probably check out the Z Flip 4. But the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 4 is definitely for somebody that likes to do a lot and likes to consume data on a really huge screen. Multitasking is made really fun on this. The cameras found on these are no slouch either, so I really like using the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 4. Subscribe if you're new to this channel as it's free and you get notified the next time that I upload a new video. This brings me to the end of my review of the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 4. I'll see you in my next upload. Peace, I'm out.